Alright boys, how's all doing?
Yeah, good man.
Good, mate.
All good.
Good. Welcome back to This Is My Story, your unofficial Hearts podcast. As you'll have all seen and noticed all over Twitter and on this, tonight's episode we've managed to have a wee sit down with Jamie Walker. He's a busy man, so we could only really catch him for about an hour, so we will obviously bring you the highlights of what was said with Jamie as in throughout the podcast as we go. So boys, that was decent, wasn't it? How's your week been now that you've spoke to your favourite players? It'd be really embarrassing if anybody heard them as not their best signing of the season, Sam. But anyway, I'll come with you in a minute. Ando, how's your week been?
Not bad. Obviously disappointed with the result on Friday, but is what it is. But as you've just spoken about, our wee chat with Jamie, it's put me right back up to up to a 10. So feeling buzzing.
Promised us 3 points on Saturday and a 6-1 victory.
Aye.
Shanks, how's your week been?
Aye, mate, alright, finally jumped on and got myself Sky right at the end of lockdown, which is great timing. But I can finally watch games not 4 minutes behind the rest of yous, which will be a different experience.
I like that it turned into a wee gadget there to begin with. You went pure Gary Lock for about 3 seconds and then back to, just pure good man, what you been up to, man? And back to just normal Shanks. Have you got proper white gutties on? Let's see.
No, I've got a wee pair of
the gadget in it.
wee pair of camel skin smokes.
Oh no!
Wait a minute.
Mate.
Why have
We're all
you
in
got
the
your
same
dad?
boat.
What the fuck is the matter with you boys, man?
Did you
Why-
not get it in this?
I've got
This
even
is
more
exactly
I've
the
got even
one
more
best.
grander ones, man.
Why
It's a
do you
proper
have?
grander.
Why do you all have your dad's slippers on? I've just got fucking normal trainer socks. What the fuck? Right.
Welcome to This Is My Slipper podcast.
I can't believe you've got through like however many lockdowns without a pair of slippers.
I do have a
Yeah,
pair of
yeah.
slippers. I just choose not to wear them.
I'm actually more upset that you didn't get the memo about the unofficial This Is My Story podcast uniform. You're supposed to be wearing them, and we're all supposed to be wearing that black away top that Kevin Brad's are wearing.
It's nice that we're all wearing black tonight, though.
Aye, that's
Well,
good.
it's quite a slimming.
Slimming.
Exactly. And we
It's
were speaking pre-show about some of the photos of Tam that are out there in the ether, and my God, you're just a big ride, aren't you?
Well, that was the same.
Was.
He's on a diet plan now.
Rick Waller used to wear black.
And
Where
I've
you
been-
pulled that one out for?
I've been body shamed too much on the YouTube comments, so I'm in black. I'm sensitive to it. How's your week been?
I'm a wee bit starstruck after that. I feel a wee
Thanks,
bit.
mate. It's all right. I've been your pal all the time. We're not famous that we're on YouTube and that now, but you don't have to feel starstruck.
No, I'm pretty good. Aye. It's all good. See, like obviously we had John Colquhoun on, but I'd never seen him play, so Jamie Walker is my John Colquhoun. There you go.
Oh, that's so
Oh.
cute.
As you can see, listeners, the interview,
Where's
I
my
suck
hat?
up his arse and all.
Where's my hat? I should have put my happy clapping hat on.
Yeah, peace
That's what I
box.
should have. I could have got my peace box signed by Jamie Walker. Brads, how's your week been?
Good, mate. He's a bit of an icon of mine. I've been buzzing for this all week, so getting to speak to Kev's been class.
Aye. Dress like him.
I dress like him. That's my future. That's what I'm going to look like in 20 year time. So I'm glad that we had that wee discussion today. So good.
And talking
Kev
here,
looks younger than you, man.
Kev.
Fish.
Philippe Albert, now that you've not stopped wearing Newcastle tops. Kev, how's your week been?
My week's been good. Definitely enjoyed the catch up with Jamie. It was definitely worthwhile. He'll probably now actually stop following me on Instagram, bar me, and that'll be it. I'll be left with Naples. But
I was just going to say, look at you saying catch up with Jamie, like he's your mate. Just because you spoke to him on Instagram, he is sick of this sight of you. Aye. So as we said, as we go on, Jamie was kindly gave us an hour of his time. What are we laughing at? We're laughing at Shanks.
The cat's trying to get Shanks' scarf.
You've just ruined my moment, Shanks. You've just ruined it. Is he attacking those slippers now?
We've got a boot in the hole now. Sorry, carry on.
Is that one? Is that the one that's called cheese string?
That is cheese string.
Right, you know what? See, because we've went down the rabbit hole, was that recorded last week? I can't remember where. And just
was
for
not.
the
was
listeners'
not.
benefit, where we were talking about what you eating, Shanks, and he's like, "Oh, it's a cheese string," and he's eating it like a solid block of cheese because the absolute arse ride didn't know that you're supposed to peel it off in bits. Hence the
Lewis.
name cheese strings.
Lewis,
I
I
think-
was just scanning it like a Mars bar. Absolutely.
People need to know that shit, and it's definitely going to be one of your highlight reels.
It was psychotic behaviour, and I don't even eat cheese and thought it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. So before Cheese String stole my limelight, saying thanks to Jamie for giving up his time, we'll edit it and bring you the best bits of it and all that as we go. But tonight we'll still go through our usual nonsense. We've got Shanks McCann, we'll have our headlines. We've got Deividas Quiznauskis with Ando. We've got Dundee preview and Away Up at Gorgie with myself. And at the end, we'll do a bit of a shout out to everybody that got in contact with us on the social medias for the questions for Jamie. We tried our best to put as many of them to him as we could. And obviously the ones we didn't put to him was because they were covered in loads of Jamie's answers and that as well. So that's cool. You can get in contact with us on the social medias. You can get in contact at Twitter. It's This My Story Pod. Get in contact us with the website, admin@thismystory.uk. And you can get us on Instagram. This is my story, 1874. Right, Cheese String. What have you got for us this week? And Shanks McCann, who got it right last week? And what's this week's nonsense?
Right. So, last week, the answers were... we recap. One of the best players of latest times. Not many got this, which means you're not inside my head. So it was the Vida keeper, John McLaughlin. Absolute frightening sighting. And he's back in the SPL. The baller who we didn't need, want or play was obviously Ryan Edwards. And who hates Ivan Sproul and then joined Arsenal was Miko. Tam, would you like to discuss your personal feelings towards that clue? As you were obviously disgruntled by my crypticness. Are you just going to sit quiet like a wee arsehole to make me ruin my feature?
Nah, I'm throwing Tam under a bus here. Come on, Tam. You were vocal on the group chat. Out with it.
Aye, because he said went to Arsenal, but nobody knows who Arsenal Kiev are. Or
Aye,
whatever.
I bet
Arsenal,
hoping you
Kiev, Arsenal sandwich, whatever. Still Arsenal. You just didn't get it right.
Matt, if you're going to pick flaws in anything, what's your theory in saying that Edwards is a baller?
That's a different conversation altogether. By the way.
He's ripping it apart down there. He's absolutely frightening. Did you not see?
In English for the league,
Aye.
where he ran from his own half and managed to beat the goalkeeper in the 6-yard box because nobody tackled him like under 8s football.
That's what Josh Hurley done, and we loved it.
Shut your mouth, Sam.
Somebody mute him.
Aye. Shut your little mouth.
So,
Right.
enough of your waffling. So, shout out to SLT414, Andy Dixon, Amoroso Let It Run, and Lewis McKenzie.
SLT 1174 sounds like a Dulux wall paint. It's like
Well done, Mr.
orange or
Walton.
something like that.
So it's definitely a burner account, that, isn't it? That's the account somebody signed up to Twitter to follow all their favourite porn stars. Not speaking from experience at all.
Well, that
Aye,
sounds like it.
And don't you ever insult Petra Kay ever again.
One more DM and her and Brad's are officially going out now, I think.
Right, Shanksy, what have you got for us this week?
Player 1. Frightening
Jamie Walker.
defender.
Right, got it right, yes.
It's no Jamie Walker. Frightening defender, strong and nippy, always a good delivery. Cost me £695 based on a 5 out of score first every single time he played for Hearts, and I never won. On the 22nd of March, he scored the first of 2 goals at Easter Road, which secured the title for the famous Send in the Tiny Arms young team, Yaldi.
Did you not put the bet on that week then?
No. Think about it, Tam. 22nd of March 2015, so... Player 2, he was like watching a wardrobe run. He once snuck in at the back stick to latch on to a Temps cross to score a last-minute winner at Easter Road. And if he could have worn gloves in the bath, he probably would. Player 3, he arrived, man of the match performance, ripped Rangers a new arsehole at Tiny, got the flu, went home. Would have been frightening.
Classic. Nice. I like them ones.
Very good.
I like them ones. Only number one really is. I'll have to see your clues written down before I take a guess at that one. Decent. Right. Headlines. The absolute shite bags that we are avoided this because Walker was on. we never even once acknowledged Friday night. So let's slaughter him now. I'm not kidding. Friday night, obviously, we spoke about the game, the reaction to the match on Friday, and the after-match reaction thing. Just going forward, we're going to try and do that for every game as we've spoke before. So make sure you follow us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Or Ando, since it's your thing, you can say it.
Smash that fucking subscribe button. Do it right now.
We'll get some sort of weird graphic seed.
I get a bomb going off.
There you go. Like, push the button, bang, nuclear explosions everywhere. Because
I don't have that in my locker, man.
Just get it. You need it. We're up in our games. So we're going to try and do the after-match reaction just thing. Because there's 9,781 Hearts podcasts now, we're trying to avoid the forensic dissection of football matches in our podcasts, because by the time we publish on a Thursday, you'll have heard everybody's opinion and all that sort of stuff, and it's just, there's no point holding on to a grudge for that long. So we're going to try and react to the matches as and when they're finished, so that we can keep the podcast light and airy and filled with absolute nonsense like how to eat a cheese string. So this week, headlines, I suppose football's allowed to come back in the lower leagues. Doesn't really affect us other than the Scottish Cup is going to be played to conclusion. The only thing I can deduct from that is that Celtic must be about to announce a new manager. Yeah. So only anybody get any thoughts on that, Tam?
One thing we speak about it in the podcast with Jamie, but our teenagers might actually get some minutes on the field that are out on loan.
Yeah, that is true.
But
it won't change that stat that you're talking about, which is that they've had 0 minutes for Hearts. We've played no teenagers for any minutes at all in the league this year. Not a single person under the age of 20, I believe, has played any minutes for Hearts this season, which is a bit rubbish.
What age is Irvin? Is he 20? Like,
well, I'm assuming it is. Or our stats department, which has had a shocker over the last week. We'll gloss over it. We've tried to gloss over it.
If we want to take 5 minutes at the end where I'll just go after Joel Sked, it's fine.
Yep,
but we'll come back to that. Yep, hi.
And I just absolutely stabbed myself in the head. If anybody's seen that on YouTube, that's a highlight. My pen got stuck in my t-shirt on my back, and I ripped it off, and it smashed me right in the back of the head. Fantastic. So we'll win a double. When was the last time we won the double? That was quite a while ago. League and Cup double. We'll take that, won't we?
Aye.
Stunned silence. Good. That's the reaction to hearing Hearts all day good at anything. That's pretty much headlines. Nothing else has happened really this week, has there?
No,
absolutely.
Whatever happened about the right back signing? Did we hear anything further on that one? It was all quiet after.
We'll need to go after our inside source as well. They've had a shocker with that one.
Looks like we made it up. Looks like we made it up.
Well, next,
I quite like it.
If it doesn't happen next week, I'm throwing that person under the bus that told us that they saw in at Tynecastle and getting their picture taken. If that doesn't come true in the next week, they're getting thrown.
It's probably that video of Jamie Walker that it was released this week, wasn't it?
Potentially, actually, it's a good shout.
No, no way. They're not that daft.
That's...
Or maybe he watched Friday and then went, actually,
nope.
back to Ireland for me.
No thanks. Some of the headlines is it looks like Stephen Naismith probably isn't going to play Saturday. see how you're doing that bomb thing, Tam? Can you get like, woo, celebrate good times, come on. When I say that Stephen Naismith isn't playing Saturday. Oh,
You
actually,
that was class.
I've just remembered that. Look how raging Shanks is. I remember Shanks Friday night was fucking Rocky Balboa because he wanted Stephen Naismith to play. Right, let's just dissect that.
But no, wait a minute. Just before we go there, the one thing I will say in response to that is that Shanks, you overtook Corbett in the predictions league because you predicted a 2-2 draw against the opposition on Friday. So you now officially know more about football than Corbett does. So give yourself a round of applause.
That's a fact.
And all of us.
And Corbett is the guy that said that Callum Tapping was actually Paul McCallum. Or whatever it is. So whoever, that's nothing to write home about. But let's talk about Friday, Shanks, because you had some absolute belters on Friday. You said you wanted to see us stop persisting with width. Right. Will I talk us through that one?
I just think that I would like to see us go through our strongest player in Jamie Walker and through the middle of the park.
Good. Anything else? And why should Stephen? Why are we? I liked as well that for everybody on Twitter and social media, they hate me because I'm the most negative person on planet Earth. But you called me a happy clapper on Friday night, which is the best thing ever. You said I was a happy clapper. Fantastic. We just moving on.
Then left the chat. They
Just
rage
left.
quit.
Aye, mic dropped and just left.
That was me.
Aye.
I'm not really ready to talk about it yet. I'm
Right.
not
Well,
really sure.
well, there is nothing else to talk about. No, that was pretty much it. Right. We'll dive into we'll dive into the Jamie Walker stuff just now, and then we'll pick it back up, and we'll get our Deividas Quiznauskis with Ando.
Cool. This episode is brought to you by our friends at Bike Speed UK. Any Jambo using the promo code This Is My Story will get 10% off at checkout.
For every biker's every need, think Bike Speed UK. From motorcycle parts and accessories to the best biker wear. Think bike, think Bike Speed UK.
Quick show of hands if you've scored 50 goals for Hearts. Hey. There you go. So, like we said, special one this week for us. We've got probably the best guest that we've had so far, I would imagine. We've got Jamie Walker, Mr. 50 goals for Hearts. How are you doing, Jamie? Thanks for joining us.
No. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Right. So, obviously, with Jamie on the podcast, we thought we'd celebrate his 50 goals and we'd get his thoughts on the season so far and how it's been for himself, the team overall, and then obviously looking forward to next season, next targets and all that sort of stuff. So first and foremost, Jamie, congratulations getting 50 goals for Hearts. How special did it feel?
Cheers. It was also a great feeling. I think it would have been better if probably you guys or some supporters would have been in the ground, but nonetheless, I'm delighted to hit the 50 goals. It felt like it was a long time coming, so to finally get it in the end, it was great, yeah.
You've actually scored quite a lot of heaters, eh? You didn't actually realise it until I watched the montage.
I said that in the interview on the Hearts TV. Like, every time I score a header, somebody's always like, a header, it's not like you, and I'm like, I scored 5-6 headers and my goals, you know what I mean? So I think when I'm attacking it and I'm in a chance of getting a goal, I'm no bad, but in the other box I'm probably not the best.
But it's been as well, it'd have been, I suppose, bittersweet for yourself. Obviously you're saying the fans and that would have made it great, but obviously you're obviously for a Hearts family, and that would have been nice to have the family there to see the moment. So you're just going to have to make sure Tynecastle's full for when you get 100 goals.
Hopefully that's my target next. I think if I get 30 more, I'll maybe be in the top 20 all-time scorers for Hearts. So
That's
take it each.
That's an unbelievable achievement, isn't it?
I know. So I think when I maybe retire or I look back in a few years, I think 50 goals, whatever I finish on is a good achievement. But just now I'm just hoping to get 51, 52, 53 and see how far I can go. So yeah, I'm delighted to finally get the 50.
See, when you're on around 48, 49, is that, do people at the club start talking to you do they start, like, does a historian or somebody in the manager pull you aside to say, do you know you're only a handful of goals away from 50, or did you know that yourself?
When I came back to the club, like, that was always one of my targets to obviously hit the half century goals. But I think I scored maybe the 47th and 48th a few weeks back against Morton away. So it's quite a long time until I got my 49th, and then obviously maybe just a couple of games until I got the 50. So, you know, I was delighted when I finally got it.
Aye, that was decent. Talking to that Morton game, do you want to talk us through that volley? The opening goal. Did you mean that volley?
We had a debate on that.
We didn't have a debate. Let's be clear about it. We had a full-blown raging argument about it, Tam.
So I'd just like to clarify, Jamie, I was on the side of you meaning it. I'll suck up your arse, it's fine.
I was hoping this wasn't going to come up, man, because I said it was totally accidental. Totally accidental.
As long as it hits the net, they all count, don't they?
They're all meant. If it hits the net, I meant it. See, the thing that's totally underappreciated about that volley at Morton is it's not until because no one's there and all the camera angles are like mobile phone footages for the other side. Ollie Lee's part in that goal flick up and then fingers it over to you, and you didn't see it for the Hearts thing because you only see it for the back. But when you seen the Morton footage, you seen that he like flicks it up and fingers and puts it straight into your path, which was. And then obviously you meant to volley it into the ground and straight into the back of the net. Didn't you?
Yeah, I think as you said, like Ollie always had that in his locker, as you've probably seen his assist for Whitey's header at Hampden, and you know his goal at Easter Road. So you know he did have a lot of quality, and you know somebody I think that we've missed in the last couple of weeks.
We've echoed that big time on here. It's something that his ability to put balls into the box as well and ping them. I think Andy Irving, yourself, Gianelli, I think are the only people really that have actually Stephen Naismith scored a decent volley through outside the box, but I don't think there's been many others that have scored for other. Obviously Kingsley scored a few free kicks and that, but pinging them through outside the box has been something. So looking back on your 50 goals, do you have one that sticks in that's your absolute, when you hang the boots up and you look back, you'll go back to that goal and think that was my best or my favourite goal?
There's been a few, I think. There's been a few goals that I've scored that's actually meant like sentimental stuff to me. I think there was one when we beat Cowden Beast 10-0. The goal I scored that game, that was my son's first game. So there's obviously that, and obviously the Hibs goal was just for me and my family, and an amazing day. As a kid, as a Hearts fan, you know that's the game that you dream of scoring in, and you know, fortunately for me, I did that day.
That I think you'd seen it on the Hearts thing. You'd said about you gave away the penalty at Partick and then scored the equaliser or whatever. That was an unbelievable goal. But that was like, we've spoke about that on this podcast because we were at the game, and that was like, when you score against Hibs, you expect pure limbs. Like that's just what happens if you score in cup finals or semi-finals. You expect proper like big celebrations and that. But when you scored the equaliser at Partick Thistle, that's the craziest I've seen a Hearts away end for probably outside of Europe. It was absolute mental because we had a bumper crowd in that. Can you remember it being crazy at the time?
Yeah, I said that, I think, as you just said on the interview. I remember that night there was like a very, very big crowd. I think there was a song that they just started, the Staying Up song. I think it was really loud that night. You know, I was still quite young, and you know, and I gave away the penalty. I was like, oh no. So like when I just got the goal, I was obviously delighted to just see that one hit the back of the net.
We talked about that because that's my, other than your goal, that's the overriding memory of that game, was trying to figure out what the fuck that song was. I was at 90 minutes. It was the Danny Wilson song, but
I love that one.
All anybody knew was that it said, "Oh, Danny Wilson, he is the captain," and then a big massive bit where everybody just went da, 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 and then the Hearts are staying up. That's funny that the players can hear that type of stuff because nobody.
Usually when you're obviously playing games, you try and blank out the crowd or like songs and just stuff like that. But that's from that night as well. All of them are goal. That's all I can remember is that
song. Have you got any funny memories that you remember just because you'd spoke about the crowd there? Has there ever been like a funny chant or somebody said something that's made you laugh when you've like went to get the ball or something?
There was a game, I'm sure it was at Easter Road, maybe one of the derbies that we lost. And I think it was maybe like 1-0 going into like 89, 90 minutes. And we've got a corner. And obviously I was on the corners at this point. So like I went to the crowd like come on, get the ball, get the ball. And it was actually my dad that had the ball. and he was like shouting, like, fucking hell, come on, like, hurry up, like, get in the box and that. And obviously I've just grabbed the ball and I was like, fucking give the ball, man, come on. But other than that, I can't really remember any. As I said, it's like when you're playing, you just try and blank out, obviously, the crowd and that, and the atmosphere, and concentrate on the match. So,
What was, just because you talked about it there, and we're obviously talking about the season so far, what was the semi-final weird as anything? The fact that it's big, pure, empty Hampden, is that like a strange atmosphere to play in?
It was a bit strange, I think. Like Hampden at the best of times when there's crowds, like the atmosphere was a bit strange, I think. So to play without any fans, it was a bit weird, especially in such a big game. And obviously we won in the end, which would have been brilliant celebration. So it wasn't great playing with no fans, no.
It is a bit weird. Ando, what were you going to say?
Just going back to that bit about playing in Hampden with it being empty. So obviously you said it's weird, but then do you think that bizarrely gave you an edge? Because we all know what Celtic fans are like. In a stadium that size, they can be quite intimidating, as can our fans be, obviously. But do you think that gave you an edge on the park?
I think maybe, like, as you've probably seen at Tynecastle, obviously when you get a goal and 2 goals and 3 goals ahead, like, the fans can be massive. I think maybe at Hampden that worked in our favour when it went 1-0, 2-0. Celtic fans could have got really in the mood for the game, and it could have maybe ended up 3-4. So I think that way it probably worked in our favour. But over the course of the game and cup finals, as a player, you want the supporters to be there.
Yeah, definitely.
See, just because you'd mentioned it there, and it's something, it's strange. It's not strange, but it's good to hear players say it too. But Hampden's so weird, It's such a weird football stadium. Even when it's foot of the brim and bouncing, the atmosphere still is never like as good as a close Tynecastle or at Easter Road or whatever. Does that come through when you're on the pitch too?
Yeah, I think because it's like there for semi-finals and cup finals, that's when, as a player, you would get to the games and you want an unbelievable atmosphere. I'm not saying the atmosphere's not good, but for a national stadium, as you said, like it's far away from the pitch, and the atmosphere's probably not as good as it could be.
It's definitely too shallow. It's like if you go to like Ibrox and Parkhead, it's like they're quite steep. But Hampden is just like it's too shallow. It just probably lets all the sound.
Yeah.
What was it like? What were the celebrations like after the Hibs game? Was it pretty good? I think Mikey Smith had put there was it La Bamba song or something like that? Is that he put it on Instagram? Nobody had any clue what was going on.
Because see, before the night before, we obviously had a few new signings, and obviously Lee McCulloch and Cody Forrest were new to the club as well. So when your first away trip as a new player, you need to sing a song.
Right.
And Gordon Forrest obviously sang that La Bamba song.
Oh, right, okay.
So that was the reason that we put it on after the game.
That's because for Hearts fans, we were like, "What the fuck are they singing that song for?"
Yeah.
Just everybody just going la 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 bamba. They like jumped up and down in that. It was mad.
Yeah.
What's the best one of them you've seen? Oh, sorry, Kev. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, the question is, where's the footage of this? Why has nobody released this footage of Gogs actually singing La Bamba?
I didn't know
Somebody's got to have it.
actually.
What's the best one of them that you've seen? The initiations and stuff. Have you seen any good ones?
No, mine's anyway. Mine's are always rubbish.
What did you do? You got a go-to song?
When I went to Wigan, I sang the skip to The Man Who Can't Be Moved. And I had the most Scottish accent ever, and I just got... Honestly, I got abused for the first 6 months I was there.
It's even worse when you're Scottish and then you have to go to England or wherever. They've got no clue what you're saying. Even when you try your best to slow down and talk normal, they're like, "What?" And you're like, "I don't know how to speak any different."
Any slower, aye. That's me.
That would have been funny to see Jason Cummins try to talk to anyone. Even I didn't understand what he's trying to say. That is class. So obviously that's probably one of the highlights of the season so far. 50 goals as well has been a big highlight for yourself. What's your thoughts personally and obviously as a club for the season so far? How you feel it's been a bit stop-start for yourself in terms of, obviously you've had some good milestones, but maybe not getting the games or as many games as we'd want. So how's it been on a personal level for you this season?
As you said there, I think, when I set out in the season, I knew I was obviously close to the 50 goals. Obviously, to get that was fantastic. But as you said there, I've been in and out of the team. Probably I've met myself. I've been inconsistent sometimes. Some games have been fantastic. So I think that's maybe the team as well. They've been quite stop-start, and it's been a tough, inconsistent season. But the main goal when we started out was to get back to the SPL, where Hearts belong. So I think you'll agree we're in a good position for that.
Definitely.
Have you found, obviously, it's been here, it's impacting absolutely everybody's lives and all that sort of stuff, but have you found COVID quite difficult to adapt to for football in terms of training and new boys and just the games themselves with no fans and that? How strange is it out there?
I think the no fans is the big one, especially at Tynecastle. I think if we go a goal up, or maybe the game's just died, or we went 2 goals up and the game's died. Whereas I think if like you guys and the fans are there, we go 3, we go 4, we go 5-0. So I think no fans has been the big one that's quite hard to process. But other than that, it's been the training ground and that's been pretty good.
What I've seen, obviously, it gets shared all over the place, and folk have got different opinions now on it. But obviously, try to do a bit different. We like the music and all that sort of stuff playing when you are doing your training. Do you think wee things like that are helping just to break the sort of strangeness that is COVID and that?
Yeah, I think obviously the Scottish rugby train at our training ground, and I think that they actually do that, play the music. So I don't know if we actually got it from there, but
just stole it.
Aye, we just stole the idea. But no, I think we only put it on for the warm up, and then obviously when training starts, it goes off. So I'm sure I've seen maybe somebody, I can't remember who it was. They were training as well, and they were doing the same thing. So I don't know if a few clubs are actually doing it now.
Just think, what's your bet? Obviously, I've seen Andy Halliday a couple of times on Open Goal say that like there's a bit during games where it just instantly starts to feel like a pre-season friendly or like a testimonial or something, because there's like you said there's natural lulls in the game that the crowd G's you up in that, but obviously there's none of that there. Do you find that yourself as well, where you're just in games where you think this is just feels like a training match sometimes?
Yeah, I think even like when I've been watching games on TV, like the English games and that, the no fans definitely affects the tempo of the match 100%. As I just said before, I think it's the hardest thing to try and deal with is the no supporters. So it is a bit disappointing, but everyone's in the same boat, and it's just what we need to deal with. Hopefully, only 9 more games to go without the supporters, and next season that they'll be back.
Here's hoping. What about shouts? What about shouts on the park? Obviously, Andy Halliday shot himself for Willie Gibson. Who was going to batter him? Has there been any shouts that you've heard and thought that was pretty good? I like that. Yeah. What about the guy actually on Friday saying that Big Craigie Gordon had stinking breath? Did you see that?
I never seen that because obviously I was on the pitch, but I think it was me and my missus or someone said when I got back. I remember when we played Newcastle. Remember in the friendly when Cathro was the manager?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was playing maybe off the front, and Shelby was playing centre mid for Newcastle.
Uh-huh.
And I think he's like got the ball and he's trying to zing it, and like one of the tackles we just like leave a wee late one on him. And I was like just looking at me. I was just looking at him, and then like got the ball again, try to zing it again. Left a wee late one on that. He was like, "You wee man." So I turned around and said, "You did that this club, and I'll put you on the transfer list." Fair enough, just jogged away.
How'd you even come back to that?
I know, just jogged away, right down the tunnel I went.
That's one of my foot. That it is funny because it was Andy Halliday, but I love when you see that in football when football players ask another football player outside when they're outside. What are you doing? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
It's like when you go head to head and that, you're never actually going to fight, are you? It's just
you can see the players that are like looking to see is somebody going to come and pull me away here, like thinking, oh fuck, I've over-egged this here. I need somebody to back me up and pull me away. That's cool. So, obviously, what's next targets for yourself? You've said there, obviously, What did you need? 20 goals, 30 goals to get it to the sort of next milestone of being in the top. Did you say the top 20 goal scorers for Hearts?
Yeah, I think it's if I get 30 more, I'll be in the top 20 goal scorers for Hearts. So, it's another target that I want to get. I know first and foremost it's all about the team. I'd rather the team do well, but, I think at the start of every season I've always got my own personal targets, and, that'll be one of them.
Right.
Does that mean if the ball anything else to steal somebody's goal?
The boys should try to do that to my goal against the Fairman. So I would only been on 49 here and now, so.
And it was one of the angles too. I think it was a Hearts one. It did make it look like he tapped it in.
It did, it did look like it, to be fair.
That was a decent goal. That would have been. Is that up there with one of your favourite ones? Because that was, you had that boy on toast. That was easy.
I think.
Easy.
Loads of my goals I've scored this season also they all count, but because of the no fan situation, like the no is good, and you don't get the feeling that the fans give you once you've scored for that 30 seconds after the ball hits the net. So obviously I'm still counting them, but it's not got the same feeling as it would if it was a full Tynecastle.
See, you're just because we've had it here, we did a thing on Twitter a few weeks ago about this is just wishful thinking, because obviously we'll have to do whatever the government said, but would you prefer like a drip-fed crowd back, or do you want it to be the first game back is just absolute sellout Tynecastle? Do you know what I mean? What would be your preference?
Obviously I'd prefer a sold out Tynecastle. That's goes without saying, but obviously as you said there, they don't know what the government's going to do, so hopefully after these 9 games the next season will start and the fans will be back.
That'd be good. What's your best memory or your best atmosphere that you've played at in Tynecastle, Kane? Do you have one?
Probably the Rangers 4-1 game. When I scored 2. As I said about the Hibs goal, to hear the fans singing my name at the end of the game, it was a dream come true, to be fair, and it was a good night, a big game, and I loved playing at Tynecastle when the old stand was there.
Aye, we've all said that too, that we kind of, as much as the new stand's amazing to look at, the atmosphere with the old stand, I don't know if the new stand's matched it yet, if you know what I mean. I've never, the old stand just had something special about it.
One of the games that actually sticks in my mind when I went to watch Hearts when I was younger was when Paul Hartley scored the penalty to put us into the Champions League.
Aye, Aberdeen.
Against Aberdeen. That was a phenomenal night, and it was up there with the Rangers game.
When Takis Vs Champions League, la 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 la. That was absolutely.
I'm sure he then took off his boots and scudded a wee laddie in the front row.
Saying bye to everybody, throwing them away.
The club got fined that night for playing the Champions League song, didn't they?
They did. You're not supposed to play it until you're actually there.
Jamie, didn't take this the wrong way, son, but I didn't think we'll be playing it again anytime soon. But I hope I'm wrong. It was worth it.
I'm realistic, I know
that. Tam, what were you going to say?
To be fair, it's just because you spoke about the 4-1 game. Do you slag Halliday for that goal you scored where you nipped it off him?
Nah, he's quite quiet actually. I've not mentioned it to him, but I might just once he's bedded in a wee bit more.
Date tomorrow. Tomorrow, if you're at training tomorrow, bring it up and say, "Aye, by the way, big man."
He tries to blame the pitch too.
I'll do it as soon as I go in the morning.
Try to say it was nothing to do with you. Try to say, I've heard them talk about it on Open Goal before. Try to say it was a pitch, it was a bobble or something that went under his
feet. The pitch
was
was terrible that night, to be fair, but actually suited as well, because Warburton, we just knew they were going to pass it every time they got the ball. So
we actually, just because somebody on Twitter had said it, somebody actually messaged us saying, ask Jamie. We were saying about pretending that we're all hard. What were you saying to Kenny Miller? Because there was a picture of you and Kenny Miller, like somebody was pulling you away and you were laughing in his face.
Aye. See, after I scored the first goal, sure I went down injured, and sure he came over. No, when the ref comes over, says you're right, you want the physio, and blah blah blah. I'm sure he came over. He was like, just take that wee bastard off or something something like that, or something along the lines. So obviously when I scored the next goal after, That's why I ran over him.
Love
I
it.
can't remember the exact words, but it was something along the lines.
That's fine. We'll make it up when you go. When you go off this, we'll edit you in saying something unbelievable.
It's alright, we've got a show name and it's called Fuck You, Kenny Miller. Right.
Yeah, that's cool. Right, anybody get any questions there that you wanted to jump in, ask Jamie?
I was going to just quickly ask, obviously, based on this season, we've seen you play it wide and we've seen you playing the 10 role. Where do you see yourself kind of going forward?
I think probably more a 10. It's weird because when I played in the youth teams, I never ever played off the front. I was always a winger, and then when I broke into the first team, I always played wide. But I think now, to affect the game, I'm probably better from that central position. I always fancy myself to get a goal and make something happen. So I think I'm probably better off the front. Yeah.
I think we've all kind of agreed that we feel that that's where you're most effective is in that 10 role. We all every week when we're doing our teams put you in as the 10.
Yeah.
So it'd be great. You and Big Nando winning all the headers up there. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely more effective off the front, especially now after I've had a few knee-ups. I mean, can't run as fast as I used to.
Just because you'd mentioned them, how have the new boys been like sort of settling in and stuff? Because I thought Nando, especially on Friday, you seen a big difference in him, and he said himself in the press this week that he feels a lot fitter, so he feels a bit better. Because the first couple of games, although he scored, there was sometimes positioning in the park or his runs he was making, he was a bit all over the place, but he just didn't look like he really had an understanding of what he was trying to do. But Friday he looked bang at it. He was winning headers, he was played nice wee passes with yourself and had a few decent shots in that.
Yeah, I think they're settling in well. I think it's been quite hard because I think TMS, obviously the big man up front, and Aaron haven't played much football. So I think, when they get up to speed, I think there'll be three decent additions. Aaron looks a top player, and hopefully they can contribute between now and the end of the season.
Do you dig out Gary Mackay-Steven for falling in that league? Or is that too predictable?
Nah, it's a bit touchy that.
Does he not like it?
Well, no one's really mentioned it yet, so I'm not going to be the first one to mention it.
Dig him up as well about his email too, because apparently he grew up supporting Hibs. Did you get that?
Did he? I'm not sure.
He said on Sci Ferry that for whatever reason lives in Thurso or something like that at the top of Scotland, but was a Hibs fan, and he said he's still got a mad Hibs email as his personal email. I think so. Dig him out for that too.
Have a word about that, man.
He's got to have a word that. It's got to get that sorted to Gorgie Rule 1874 or something like that at hotmail.com.
That'll be his back window wiper getting tanned the morning, 100%.
What he's tired then.
That's it. Gorgie, you just wreck his car. Cool. Right, Ando, Deividas Quiznauskis, what you got for us this week?
Well, what I have for you this week is a bonus, because we've got 6 questions instead of the usual 5. Alright, so these are absolute beauties. 5 standard questions, and then 1 closest to the pin at the end. Alright, so I will keep the scores because I don't trust any of you horrible bastards. So, yes, hands on the head right now. So, Shanks, that includes you. Kev, that includes you. Brads, take your hands out of your bockies and put them on your head or fold them. Boom, boom. Classic guy.
He's got me hearing it.
Right, so, the question number 1. And we're going to go with Shanks for this one first. Who was the latest Hearts player to reach 50 goals for Hearts?
Jamie Walker.
Hey, well done. Just checking you were paying attention. All right, okay, cool.
You said it latest. You should have said last. There's no way you would have got it if you said who was the last Hearts player to score 50 goals.
Semantics. It's all the same shit. It was just to try and make you look foolish, Shanks, but obviously I've failed miserably. I'm not going to ask everyone else that, so you all get question 1 as a bye. Right.
Whoa.
Yes. Question number 2. Who replaced Anatoly Korobochka on the 1st of January 2008 as the Hearts manager? I suppose technically you could call him an interim manager, but Aye. We'll go. Oh, Corbett, are you waving your hands up in the air there? Am I coming to you first?
Go for it. Stevie Frill.
Stevie Frill. Okie doke. Shanks.
I was going to say Valdas Ivanauskas.
No, he was before Korobotchka. Tam?
That means wrong.
Aye.
As you say, the interim, I also thought Frail, but I'm going to be different and go John McGlynn.
John McGlynn. Okay. Kev?
I also believe it's John McGlynn.
Alrighty. And then finally Brad's.
I thought it was McGinn as well when you said interim.
McGinn. He's not a person. Unlucky Brad. No points.
I think you mean McGlynn. Well, well done, Corbett. You've got yourself 2 points there. It was indeed Stevie Frail. Took over for a wee while. And well, that was that. Question number 3. Which Hearts
player? His number 2, wasn't he? He was Korobotchka's number 2.
I think so. Or he was definitely involved because you used to see him in the dugout. I don't know if he was technically number 2 or if he was just a coach or whatever, but aye, he was definitely involved. Question number 3. Which Hearts player scored in the famous 1-0 victory under the floodlights at Tynecastle in February 1989 against Bayern Munich?
Oh.
Absolutely iconic game. And because I don't...
Aye, come to me and Kev last.
Exactly.
We'll just give them the answer.
I'm coming to you last. You know how this works. Brads, I'm coming to you first for this.
Go and repeat the question for me, please.
Where's the chance?
I actually think I've got a good shout at this. So
which Hearts player scored in a famous 1-0 victory under the floodlights at Tynecastle in February 1989 against Bayern Munich in a 1-0 victory? If I didn't say that already.
Big banging free kick, but I'm ashamed to say the name slipped my mind. Busby, fuck it.
No, okay. Shanks?
So, I know it's obviously the Bayern Munich game. I don't know.
The clue was in the question.
Player. Is it... fuck knows. Is it Ferguson?
Yeah, that's not going to lie. It was going to be my answer to Shanks.
Well, I'm coming to you next time. So what is your answer?
It is Ferguson. I don't know the first name.
You don't get any points then?
Tam, I can't see your hands, Tam.
Is it like Brian or something?
Brian Ferguson.
Ian Ferguson.
Right, well, let's go to Corbett for the correct answer. Who is it, Corbett?
Let's kneel down. The Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Let's put that answer in lights or whatever it is for Shanks. Who confirm what his first name? What his name is?
Ian.
You just copied me. You said Brian earlier.
What did I do if I tell you that you? What if I said that you were right the first time? Would you change your mind?
Oh, because I know you're bamming me up.
And Kev, I don't need to ask you because you were there, same as I was. So, yeah, the correct answer is Ian Ferguson. Right, so question number 4. Who was the most recent Hearts player to notch up over 200 competitive league appearances? And we'll go to Shanks for this one first.
Consecutive?
No, not consecutive. No one's played 200 games consecutively. That's ridiculous.
I thought you meant like over like one spell at the club as opposed to multiples. Gordon?
Craig Gordon. Okay, fair enough. Good guess. Brad's, come to you next.
Walker.
Jamie Walker. Okay. Kev.
Oh shit. Sorry.
That's
I was scratching my arse. Scratching my Eamon Bannon.
You were taking photos of your Eamon Bannon nutsack, weren't you?
I think the answer could be Mikey Smith.
Mikey Smith, okay. 200 appearances for Mikey Smith, fair enough, but it's locked in now. Then Tam.
Christoph Berra.
Christoph Berra, okay, fair enough. And Corbett.
Just pass me because I've already seen it.
You have already seen it. So
have you already seen it?
Are we going to give him full? We're going to give you full points there, or no points at all because you're passing? No, we'll give you
it because We seen it. I seen it because we had Patter, but the Patter's been ruined. So we'll move.
Right. The correct answer is Jamie Walker. Craig Gordon has 199. So I believe, according to London Hearts, his next game where he starts will be his 200th. Jamie Walker's well over it. He's like 220 odd. So he's the most recent player to notch up 200. Question 5. Since the 1980s, 5 players have managed to reach 50 goals. Can you name them?
We're going to have to write them down, surely. Or are you just going to go...
No. So
okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot and I want names. If it's
Since
correct...
what, 95?
Aye, this is... we'll call it Cunt Down, right?
Give me one.
The same as Thingy did. What's his name? Craig Cairns. Same basis as that, right? I'll go round each one of you. You get 1 life. If you say it correct, brilliant, you're through to the next round. If not, then you're out. All right. So since the start of the 1980s, so from 1980 onwards, 5 players have managed to reach 50 goals. Name them. Right. Kev,
I know all 5.
You
I
know
can
all
give them
5
right now, but I'll wait till
That's
the
not the
end.
rules.
I know,
But
I didn't want to give you one and then you all go, "Oh, right, cool."
right. So we'll keep Corbett out of this. Shanks, name a player that's scored more than 50 goals since 1980.
John Cohen.
John Cahoon, that's correct. You get a correct answer. Brad's
Scored more than 50 goals since 1980. Robbo.
correct. Kev,
I've know the all 5 as well. So I'll be the horrible bastard to take the one that everybody's possibly thinking. I'll go Walker.
correct.
Be
Tam,
tactical.
Colin Cameron.
correct.
Oh,
All right.
Gary Mackay's the last one.
And also, because I probably didn't include Jamie Walker in my original list, it should be 6.
all right. So there's a 6. All right,
there
wait
is.
a minute.
No, but since
I've got it.
1980, there is one more. And to be honest,
Ando
the
Frozen. Aye.
Going
the number 6 was Derek O'Connor. He was the first one to breach 50 since
I would have got
1980.
that, no.
Aye.
Nah, you wouldn't. Right, okay.
absolutely.
So some people get 5 points and some people don't. Right, and question 6, this is closest to the pin. So with 226 appearances for Hearts as it stands, where does that put Jamie Walker in the all-time list of appearances? All right, so if you had to list all of the Hearts appearances, and just for context, Gary Mackay is in position 1 with 640 appearances. Right, Kev, I can't see your right hand. Keep it up.
Aye, they're good like that to you.
You're probably on
Damn it, I've
LondonHearts.com.
been measuring. I measured from my house to Tynecastle in Jamie Walker's. Can you not ask that?
No, because actually I was going to message him earlier on and just actually I don't even bother with that. That's dirty. But aye, so with 226 appearances as it stands, where does that rank him in the all-time list of Hearts appearances? Gary Mackay, number 1 on 640. So where do you think it puts him? Closest to the pin on this one, and we'll go Shanks, you first.
A double fill stamp, 8 to 8.
8 to 8, okie doke. Brad's
94th.
94th. Okay, Corbett.
I really like to have Patter and say 81 because it's my favourite number. But I think he's in the top 50 now, so I'll say 41.
41, okay. Kev,
I'll take 81 just to piss off Corbett.
you'll take 81. Right, that's fine. And Tam,
Do you know
I actually
numbers?
was weirdly going to say 41, which is annoying, so I'm just going to go 42.
you're going to go 42. Fuck's sake. Right, okay. Because that makes it incredibly close.
Ooh.
And I'm going to have to just do a very quick
It's
fucking
48.
thing on the fly here.
Did you say 48, Corbett, did you say?
Chat amongst yourselves. Oh, no, wait a minute. Sorry. It helps if I type in the right fucking number to begin with.
We might have to dig out the list.
Oh, right, okay. There is only. I knew this was tight because I couldn't quite get the maths right in my head. Jamie Walker is in 61st position, which means that Tam's guess of 42 just makes it. He's the closest with 19.
Oh,
Because-
I said 48.
You said 41?
You said 41?
I said 48.
You didn't. You said 41. I've got it typed
Steve
in.
Banks it. Steve Banks it. With a
Steve
48.
Banks. Right. Right. Okay. So Corbett
Wait a minute,
gets.
but I said 88. So 88 minus 62 is 18.
Aye.
Is it no? So I'm closer.
Oh.
What?
Get the
Was
left
it-
music on again.
That's-
Get the left music on again. Jeez.
No. How is
88,
that
it's
right?
62. 88.
What's the
It's
difference
26
between? What's the difference
positions.
between 61 and 88? Is 27.
You've absolutely shanked this.
I fucking have not. I know
You're
maths,
arguing
mate.
with a guy that didn't even know about cheese strings.
I know.
I don't know who's mental.
Right, okay, so the correct answer is 61, and Tam was the closest with a guess of 42. He beat Corbett by 1 point, even though we might Steve Banks it, where he puts in 48.
Oh, good money.
No, but
Don't do YouTube money.
I don't know. It just depends, because
YouTube, you'll get it right. On
I
the
I am
audio.
sick to the back fucking wheels of Tam just by hook or by crook somehow fucking winning this. So he gets 6 points for that. Final scores on the doors. Oh, actually, he doesn't. He doesn't. If we add up these two scores, you're both on 15 equal
Oh.
between Corbett and Tam, and that's with
Tiebreaker.
Corbett. That's actually quite a sad indictment, because Corbett had some inside knowledge to this quiz, and he's only just drawn level with Tam on 15. So I'm going to give you one more, right? And I had this one as an ace in the hole. Tommy Walker was the granddad of Jamie Walker, legendary Hearts manager.
Great
Close-
uncle.
No, she's granddad.
No, according to Jamie Walker on Hearts interview.
Uh,
His
Get
great
him,
uncle.
text him.
Well, no, according to a book I've read, it says his granddad. But
Well,
anyway.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's Jamie-
I think I should know who your granddad is.
Well, either way,
Get him back on, Kev. Get him back on.
message him. Was
FaceTime him in.
was Big
Give me a
TW
That guy
your
in the
granddad
picture,
or your
who's
uncle?
granda?
It says
Forget
Granda
no,
in the bit in my official Hearts quiz book. It says Granda. Raging
No,
about
it's
that.
his-
Well, anyway,
He said
What-
in the Hearts thing that it's his great uncle, and he never knew about it until he joined the club, and the club historians or whatever connected the dots. Or his dad told him. Actually, it said his dad told him or something. But
well,
aye,
fair
there we
enough.
go.
That's
Cut
not
all
that's not the question, right? The question is legendary great uncle of. In fact, no.
He's back.
I'll start that again. So Jamie Walker's legendary great uncle, Tommy Walker, was a manager at Hearts for a good wee period of time, way back in the 50s and 60s. My question is, and closest to the pin for the two remaining contestants, is how many trophies did he win? So, Tam,
Tam,
your
you wanna
guess.
go first?
3.
Okay, Corbett.
Hearts' most successful ever manager.
Correct.
I think 5 would be my guess, although I think it is 4.
The correct answer is 7. So Corbett wins. He won 2 league titles, 4 league cups, and 1 Scottish Cup. So that is 7 trophies all in all. So congratulations, Corbett. Fuck you, Tam.
I want
Lost-
a
lost
closest
manager.
to the pin. Who's Jamie Walker's granddad?
How many
Uh,
trophies did he win at Hearts?
It says
Hearts
it. I'm
manager
raging.
won
I'm
the,
gonna.
win League Cup.
I'm gonna write to the author of that book and just a total red email. You're shite. You've not done your fact checking. Fair enough.
That book's threw you under the bus a few times, hasn't
It
it?
has, mate. Aye, this is I think the third time I've made a complete Ricky Hunt of it because of that. So, well, anyway, congratulations, Corbett. You win the quiz.
Thanks, mate. Thank you. We've been avoiding it all game, and yes, for the eagle-eyed viewers will know that we absolutely shat out of talking about it because Jamie Walker was here, but we have to talk about Dundee because we've got a game on Saturday. On the back of 3 successive draws, let's talk Dundee. Fantastic. I'm buzzing about it, boys. What about yous? I cannot wait.
It's like one of these things where you just think, right, things are going to get better now. No, things are going to get better now. This time, I'm convinced we're going to go out and fucking smash them again. It'll be a repeat of the first game of the season.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like doing that British or Scottish thingy, standing in the queue, waiting to get on the life rafts at the Titanic. everybody else is shooting folk and kicking folk and hanging, and we're just standing at the back going, "It's all right. We'll get one. It's right. We'll get one. We'll get one." And here we are, kicking onto our ankles, drowning at the Titanic, hoping for the best. So, here we go. What would just Friday predictions, or do you want to talk about what we'd like to see differently? Stephen Naismith probably isn't going to play. What about Mikey Smith? Because he went off Friday. Any updates on whether he's likely to?
They said that both him and Nazy was a muscular strain, but they said they're hoping Smith will be back for Saturday. So.
Does Naismith being injured solve a problem for Robbie?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree.
I think we'll play the exact same team as Friday night, except for Walker will replace Naismith. Castanier on the right, Kerry Mackay-Stephen on the left, and Boyce up front. Is how I think we will set up. You might see Irving for Halliday potentially.
How long will Castanier get in this game? 45 minutes? 40 minutes? What we got to go?
If he's lucky. The good news is, though, and it's very sad and an indictment of where we are as a club, is that Charlie Adams not playing Saturday because he's self-isolating for COVID. With Ando, we're going to have to get better one day. So why not start Saturday? If we win Saturday, Dunfermline Rafe on the Friday night, innit?
Yeah.
That's the game. So somebody there is going to take points off each other, and if we beat Dundee, I'm not calling it as it's done, but it takes us a step closer. Us happy clappers closer to the title, Shanks.
Or we could absolutely shanks it and the Pars could win. Just saying.
It's Rafe Rovers that are second, though.
That's that.
Yeah, as of
Are they
Saturday.
going to be shite? And
So-
it's Dunfermline that you're sticking to?
Aye.
Aye, right, okay, that's good. Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Right, we'll just go quickly around the houses then. What are the score predictions? Ando, what's your score prediction for Saturday?
Well, I'm a firm believer in lightning can strike 4 fucking times in a row, so I'm going to go a 1-1 draw.
Shanks? See if you get beat after calling me a happy clapper. I'm going to this.
No, I think we'll win 3-1.
3-1.
Sam?
I think it's going to be. We're going to scud them again, so 4-0 for me.
Brads?
I think it's going to be a 2-2 win for Craig Gordon.
Kev?
I can't go against them because it's just depressing them from that point of view, so I'll go 2-1 Hearts.
We can't score goals. We concede goals. 6-1. Jason Cummins to score all 6. Boyce for the penalty spot.
So a 1-6 for Corbett. Sound right? No bother.
That can't be your prediction, man.
It absolutely can be.
Aye, but my genuine, it'll be 2-1 to Hearts, and it'll be a really, really tight game. Would be my thing, but I'm happy to stick with what I did because that's the whole point of it.
No,
There we
well,
go.
just for banter, I'll give you points if either one come true. Just because the 6-1's a good laugh because it's historic, and then you get a point if it's 2-1. So fair enough. We'll see.
Simple answer, are we going 4-2-3-1 again?
Yes, because
Did
Robbie
he?
Nielsen doesn't change.
Aye, if Robbie Nielsen's still the manager, it's 4-2-3-1. But the biggest question is how long is it going to take James McPake to figure out that we're playing 4-2-3-1 exactly the same as every other game this season and haven't changed a single thing apart from maybe the personnel?
My hope is that when we actually changed about 35 minutes into the game on Friday, we kind of dominated the rest of the match. We went, you could either say it was the 4-1-3-2 or the 4-4-2 in the diamond or whatever you want to say. We did play a bit better, but it's the interviews after the match that bug me the most because, again, he's talking about how hard the league is and how annoyed he is that people think that we should be doing better and all that type of stuff, which makes me think like what you said a few weeks ago, Brad's, about we've had 26 attempts on goal. He just blames, like, keep doing what we're doing, but eventually we'll score. I don't think he blames the shape. I think he thinks everything that we're doing's right. We're just not getting the Robbie Green in front of goal, which bugs me because
Robbie
Who's
Green,
Robbie Green?
is that the
Robbie
new
Green.
right back?
Robbie Green,
Robbie Green for Dundalk.
We signed him. That's what our insider said was Robbie Green is coming in. Like, did I say that? Because I'm not sure I did. Like,
Robbie Green in front of goal.
It sounded like it to me.
we've got a show name. We've got a show name right there. We Robbie Green. Before we move on to Away Up at Gorgie, what did you make of the post-match comments? Obviously, first we got a bit of heat on Twitter from the Craig Gordon comments, and then obviously Robbie Nielsen after the match as well kind of echoed what Craig Gordon had said about them being hard games and this is a hard league and we're not getting the credit that we deserve basically for how tough a league this is. Anybody? Any
I think
thoughts?
Craig Gordon, initially, if you take his first step, he kind of contradicts himself because he goes on to say, oh, well, it doesn't matter who we've got, the results are results, we're in a tough league, and then goes on to say, actually, we should be doing a lot better. So it does contradict himself, but I get why they're getting frustrated, but at the same time, we have got the biggest budget, we have got the most internationals, there is expectations there, so they're going to get the criticism.
Aye.
I think he's annoyed as we are, though, to be honest. Like, you could tell he was genuinely frustrated.
But do you think he's
Which is funny.
frustrated? Do you genuinely think that he was frustrated at the players and the performance? Was frustrated at that woman for asking him the question?
I think he was frustrated at the players and the performance, for me.
But then why does he then go on to justify saying this is a tough league and if we have to get 1-0 defeat, if we have to get 1-0 victories or draws and it gets us up, then that's all that matters if he's annoyed with the players? Do you know what I mean? It was just like what I'd said. He genuinely just, for me, it looked like he got angry at, is it Leanne?
Crichton.
Yeah, Crichton.
Like it genuinely seemed like he got annoyed that she'd been sort of saying, oh, you should be doing better type thing. It looked like he got a bit angry that she said that type thing. I get it. It could be, like you said, it can be construed whatever way you like for that. But then the fact that that's the heat of the moment and 25, 30 minutes later, the manager echoes the same sentiments that it's a hard league. It's all about getting out of it, all that sort of stuff. And then you add in that Andy Halliday said similar. It's just a bit strange. Well, no, a good positive thing I actually talk about was I liked Nando's comments in the press today. I think it is just talking about the team needs to play better and it needs to play to his strengths because he's good in the air, he's good attacking the ball, and we're not playing to his strengths type thing, which I quite liked. I like that he's had the sort of the balls to come out and
A bit selfish.
and say that as well, which I liked. And if you actually have seen on Friday night, a few times Mikey Smith had an opportunity to put a ball in, clip it to the back post, and he launched it out the park. Nando had a go at him because he was back stick. He also had a go at Boy Sandwalker, actually, incidentally, for not getting on the end of his shot come cut back at the end type thing. So it's kind of good that he says that he feels more confident because he's fitter. He obviously had a bit of a knock when he came and he's not played football, but he feels fit. So that's only positive in it. It's the type of stuff I'd much rather hear that than, like we've said before. And I understand Robbie Nielsen's job as a manager is to protect the players as much as he can, but I think there has to be a balance of it, and I think Robbie Nielsen is too on the side of the players when we know and they know that things aren't going quite right. Cool.
Yeah.
Shanks. Oh, Ando, what were you
No,
going
I
to
was
say?
just going to say, definitely agree, because I would rather hear, and I wasn't aware of that interview or the media source that you're talking about, but I would much rather read or hear that and have it give me a bit of comfort rather than just us sitting in silence and then when he turns in another shite performance going, the big man's fucking pish. Because we've said it, well, we've maybe not said it publicly on here right enough, but if we were ever to air the dirty laundry of the group chat, we would say more than one of us has called him absolutely crap so far. So, you know what? at least hearing that makes me, gives me a bit of comfort because he knows what's wrong, even if everybody else doesn't.
What's your cat called now that's in the background? Is that Pepperami? Domino's 2 for 1? I don't know. What do you call it?
That's wee Sherlock.
Right, wee Sherlock. On Big Nando, like what Ando said, I think everybody, you have to have your eyes painted on not to see it, that his first few appearances, although he scored the goals, he has looked probably as sharp as he would want. I did actually think he looked sharper on Friday night. He was a bit more active. He had a couple of shots on goal. His touch wasn't an embarrassment. His runs were actual pretty decent runs, and he tried to link up play. So if we're scraping the barrel for positives, that's going to be a positive, isn't it? Cheese string.
I think given the problems that we know that Dundee can cause us, this is definitely the game that I'd bring Harren back in and get him back involved. I think he would just steady things up at the back and just give us the confidence to boost forward. So, yeah.
What are Dundee's strengths in your opinion?
They score goals at Tynecastle and we didn't.
Well, the last time we scored 6 against them and they only scored 2.
What?
Charlie Adam scored and he's not playing, so when did they score goals at Tynecastle?
Oh, sorry. I mean Dens.
At Dens, right. Alright, cool. Other than
I
Charlie
totally
Adam,
shanked that, but no, that wasn't as bad.
can you have a stab at naming the Dundee starting 11? Do you got any graph?
Aye,
plays and goals?
Jason Cummins, keeper.
He doesn't play in goals.
No, I didn't.
Craig White. Craig White played in goals. Remember Kev's question last week?
Keeper is an ex-Hearts keeper.
He might know him. Yeah, I was on the quiz. He featured on the quiz last week as well.
Jay McDonald.
No, he plays for ref. Another Corbett hates him. Jack Hamilton, but that's fine. That's fine.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. Let's get Jamie
Walker.
Walker.
A valid point, and you just pulled my pants down and absolutely me right in the.
Now, welcome to our world. This is what you do to us all the time. Railroad us. Aye, but would he be a good mentor to Stephen Naismith? You specky chip.
Oh, fucking hell, remember
The thing
that?
is, the listeners haven't even heard that.
Kid,
Have they?
but we'll do our best of, and that'll just be what it is.
No, it is
When-
in
said
Shank's
that.
highlight reel. Now I'm saving this for his obituary. Like if he dies or whatever, this is something. He'll be like, aye.
Right, let's get
the Shanks special.
Let's get back to some common sense and let's dive back into Jamie Walker. We've got to talk to Jamie about his younger years coming through, his favourite Hearts memories as like a kid, and the youth system currently and all that sort of stuff. So let's hear what Jamie's got to say. So since we've got Jamie on, obviously it's well publicised that you're a Hearts man for a Hearts family. So what are your youngest sort of memories of Hearts? What was I think you'd said on the Hearts interview the other day there, that your first memories are the 98 Cup final?
Yeah. I don't I see that game. I don't actually remember if I remember it from going to the game, or I just remember it because I've seen the game back so many times. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because obviously I was only 6 years old when that game was on. I don't think I maybe even went to the parade or that. So as I just said there, I think it was more that I've seen the game a few times after, rather than actually remembering being at the game. It wasn't until maybe 2006, that season, when obviously Rudy came and we won the cup again, that I remember actually going to the games and that.
I dyed my hair like Stevie Fulton for you.
That's all I remember.
He's not even
for
joking.
that game. It's his that blonde hair and winning the penalty so well. Because every time I speak to my dad about that game, he always says the last added on time was felt so long, but I still don't remember much from the game.
Was it 6 minutes added on or something ridiculous like that?
Aye.
I think they put on 4 minutes, but they played something like 6, and it was the longest period of my life. That's why I'm grey-haired now.
At least you still got it.
And I just
True.
remember obviously the game was at Celtic Park as well, rather than Hampden. But other than that, I can't really remember much for that game.
I've got 2 overriding memories of that game. One was wanting to leave 5 minutes before kick-off because I couldn't handle how nervous I was. I was like, somebody in front of us, because obviously we'd been at Tynecastle at the time, which would have been the Wheatfield stand, maybe, or would have been the school end would have been the only stand in terrace with the rest of it. So you could get a pie and a bovril. That was about the only options at Tynecastle for food. But at Celtic Park, you could get pizzas, garlic pizzas, hot dogs, and the guy in front of us was eating a garlic pizza. And I can remember being nervous as in it and being like, Dad, I want to leave. We're not fucking leaving. You're staying. And then the weirdest thing about it is my memory after the game was just like sheer disbelief. Walking out the big, huge tunnel underneath Celtic Park and just everybody like, what do we do now? Not supposed to win trophies, man.
It's weird because the Gretna game was probably the most confident of the finals that we were going into, you know what I mean? And it's probably the one that we nearly lost, like, you know what I mean? It's just crazy.
But then I suppose the good thing for being Hearts fans for us now is that Gretna, we can list our favourite and least favourite cup wins. My dad had to wait till he was like 40 to be able to even list one cup win. So now I can be like, I didn't like Gretna because it was too boring. You just said there about obviously 2006. Was that like that would have been around about the time where you were in and around youth squads at Hearts and that? What a time to be around the club and that. Did you get to see like Jankowskis and Bednar and Rudy and that training day in day out, or were you separate?
I don't think I would have been full time, so we usually trained at nights.
Right, okay.
So I never really seen them much. But you know, that squad was just unbelievable. Sure, I had a couple of Hearts Bednar and that on the back. So as I said before, Chris earlier, like that night when they qualified for the Champions League was something special. And you know, I didn't think I'd be experiencing a night like that as a Hearts player. So no, it's a special time, 2006, and you know, it's a lot of memories.
Did you have a favourite player growing up, or like a player that was your biggest sort of influence on your playing style, or whatever? Who was your favourite player?
I'm also a big Liverpool fan as well. So like, I think like growing up, it was obviously like Gerrard. I loved Fernando Torres. I used to be a striker when I was in the youth team, so he was my kind of idol, Fernando Torres. But I think as I like broke into the first team, I wouldn't say my idols as much, but maybe like the Temps, the Andy Drivers, the people that I would watch, and you know, I would probably inspire to be like. And when I broke into the first team, it was more them that I wouldn't say they were my idols, but that I looked up to and tried to learn from.
They're good. I liked Templeton as a player, like that type of winger that seems to be going out the game now, like one of the last types that just get the ball and just head down and head for the bylines and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think for me, like obviously in the 2006 and that we had unbelievable players like Fisas, Jankowskis. But I think for people coming through the academy, before Driver's injuries, he was one of the best players I've seen. That goal he scored against Falkirk at Tynecastle.
Aye.
When he went, and I think it was the whole team and the goalie. He was one that I kind of looked up to and that I try to learn from.
He's another one of those players as well that injuries probably played a part in stopping him kicking on next level in it. He was one of those players that was really tipped to. Was it England? Was it England B team or was it England under 21s? He was away with in that day, wasn't he?
I'm sure it was the England 21 Euros. But as you said, like injuries did hamper him because I thought he was going to go on. I'm sure when Vad was here, Burnley offered good money for him, didn't they?
I think so.
That madman thought we were going to get 25 million for Chelsea or something.
Better watch that madman's just showed up in a submarine somewhere again, man. He's an absolute crackpot. I miss that guy. Tam, what were you going to say?
I was just going to ask, is it quite strange when you started breaking into the first team and these are players that you kind of watched and have grown up watching? Is that a strange situation to be in?
Yeah, it's quite strange now because, as I said, like the 2006 Cup final, Craig Gordon was in goals. The gaffer played right back. I'm obviously at the game watching, and now he's the manager of the club, and you know Craig Gordon's back in goals. So it's a bit strange, but I think, as I said on the documentary I'd done with Hearts, you know, it's obviously fantastic being a fan and you know living probably your boys' dreams and you know my dream, but. You know, I think when you get into the first team, you need to kind of step away from that a little bit and concentrate on trying to play well and, you know, becoming an athlete and stuff like that. So, yeah,
it wasn't for the gaffer, we might not have won that game.
That's very
I
true.
know he's tackle on.
I bet he still goes on about it as
I
well.
was going to say, does he ever bring that up, does he?
Nah, he doesn't really, no. He doesn't really.
He hit a penalty too, didn't he? Scored the
He did.
penalty.
Aye.
No.
Scored the
You've-
penalty.
You've spoiled it a wee bit for me, Jamie. I genuinely hoped that Robbie was going to bring up that tackle, the penalty he scored, and the goal he scored in Europe against Basel were the three things he would always talk about every Monday morning. You're saying he doesn't talk about it, so I'm a wee bit gutted.
Is that the only goal he scored, aye?
I think he scored one more. He scored against
one more.
Livy or
He
something.
scored against Livy, aye.
Did he?
Aye. Crazy.
Nah.
It's mental. What about, so obviously, what are your memories of your first sort of season breaking through? What was it like being a Hearts fan and obviously fair Hearts family? What was it like sort of getting to tell your family that you were potentially starting or getting games and all that sort of stuff?
I'm sure my debut, I came off the bench against Inverness, and my dad was actually in Tenerife, so he missed that. So he was obviously really gutted about that. But I was just delighted to obviously make my debut, and I'd never thought that I would go on to score 50 goals and play over 200 times for the club.
Was it in Inverness or was it at Tynecastle?
No, it was at Tynecastle.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't blame them. No, got to Inverness and Ross County are the worst trips ever. They must be brutal for you having to sit. Do you bus it up or did you fly up with it?
No, we get the bus. And
The bus.
there's two. You need to get two buses now because COVID and everyone needs to sit separate and that. So it's a nightmare. Takes quite long on the bus. Never got
Guessing
back
you got
till
in well,
quite
mate.
late, till 2 in the morning or something. So it's a nightmare.
So, obviously, what was the season you kind of came to sort of the fore and played all the time was obviously the season that we've spoke about there with the Danny Wilson song. But what was your memories of that season? Obviously, it was difficult circumstances, but for young boys, it must have been great in a sense because you were getting to play and you were all sort of pals and came through the youth team with each other and stuff. Was it a bit of a weird season?
Yeah, it was. As I think I've said before, it was just like I was playing every weekend. With my mates, the people that I came through the youth team with. But it was a tough season. It was a long season. We never won many games, and at times along the way, I probably never played that well. But it was maybe as I look back now, it was maybe the making of me as a player. It was a great learning curve, and one that probably put me in good stead for what was to come.
And we beat Hibs 3 times that season with the under-15s. That's something to be proud of, isn't it? That was. Did you play at the relegation derby? Were you on that one where Billy King round to keep on scored?
I don't know if I came on or I was on the bench. I think I maybe just came back from an injury or something. But that was probably one of my favourite derbies.
Did the player see before the games? Did the players know that those idiots had printed off invitations to come to the game and all that, and they had a dress code? And have you ever seen them on Twitter kicking about where they'd actually went to the hassle of making? It was called the relegation party, and they invited and they had actual wee invites and all that. Did you know any of that stuff?
I think they probably never spoke about it in the change room before they got, loads of players were on social media and stuff like that. So they probably did see wee snippets and that, but it's not something we spoke about before the game.
What's Gary Locke like before a derby?
He's brilliant. What Lockie's like is he loves the club, and he was good at getting the boys up for them games. When that season actually started, I thought we had a good chance of staying up. We obviously beat Hibs, beat Aberdeen at Tynecastle. I think we played St Mirren. If we beat them, we would have been right up behind them. But unfortunately, we lost, and just from there, we kind of never really recovered.
It was a hard start, when it was always a big ask, especially when you look through and see what Ryan Stevenson, Jamie McDonald, and Jamie Hamill, probably the only few senior players at the club, wasn't it? Really, at the time. So everybody else were just youngsters, which makes it really, really tough.
Yeah, it was hard. I think as I said there, the start of the season, everyone had a wee buzz to get playing. A few boys haven't even made their debuts in the first team. So You still hear me, aye?
Yeah.
Aye, we're
Aye.
here.
Aye, a few boys have obviously made their first team debuts, but probably most people you speak to now, they probably say it that season when they look back now, left them in good stead for what was to come in their careers ahead.
That's what were you going to say?
Well, just obviously Jamie touched on it earlier. Like when you come into the first team, you have to change your mindset. But how do you go from obviously being a Hearts fan and then playing against Hibs and scoring? Like every single one of us, I know for a fact, if we scored against Hibs, it'd be a straight red straight after that, instant dismissal, six game ban for jumping in the way. And like, how do you differentiate from being a fan to a player? That's what I was kind of wondering. I've always wondered when I go pro. Obviously, when Robbie eventually sees my potential, how I'll react. So, how do you?
I think it's quite tough because even like now, even the semi-final. See, for me, I never really get nervous before matches. But see the Hibs games, and because I know, like, see people that maybe come from abroad or England or that, they know what it means, but they don't know what, like, I know what it means, like, proper to my family, to the fans. And I think sometimes before the games against Hibs especially, you know, I get a bit uptight and because I know what the backlash is like if we lose. And sometimes I think I maybe just get a bit uptight and, you know, I don't maybe produce my best form. So it is quite tough to make that transition from a fan to a player, but, you know, it's one that you need to try and do to the best of your ability.
So obviously that's difficult. What happens, but the following season we absolutely romp the championship. Do you think that's the season before was like a real platform for the young boys in that squad to like really kick on and show? Because obviously that season we were absolutely sensational, and the spine of the team was still predominantly the young boys that had played the season before.
Yeah, I think as I just said before, like maybe we didn't realise it at the time, and you know we were obviously lost a lot of games that season. But I think as you just said there, it did put us in good stead for the season after. Probably gained a lot of experience, and you know one that we just carried on into the championship season, and you know we won it at a canter that year, and it was really enjoyable.
I think we all say that loads of folk and loads of Hearts fans echo it too, that was probably one of our most enjoyable seasons as Hearts fans, just because, you know, what was it, the end of January was the first time we'd got beat. We get obviously lost at Falkirk at home, and then the drop points come after we were already champions. When, you know, we beat off Rangers and beat off Hibs or whatever. It was an unbelievable season.
Yeah, I think as well that season, obviously the 2-1 win at Ibrox at the start of the season was a great start to the season. After the way we won the game in the last minute, we kind of just kept on for there, and you know we go to Alloa and we go to these other places and we just win, whereas Hibs and Rangers were dropping points. So you know we just kept winning, and we won it at a canter in the end. Yeah.
And I think, like I said, the momentum builds as well, and like the crowds and stuff. We were selling out Tynecastle and away grounds every single week. Do you know what I mean? And you're taking, we've said it there, I think we took 3,000 or something to Queen of the South, and you're taking 2,000 to Alloa and 3,000 to Falkirk or whatever. And it's just, I said it was just great. And those team, for me anyway, we just felt like we just played with such like a freedom type thing. You know what I mean? Like the young boys and all the boys just weren't afraid to get on their ball and express themselves. Was that from the season before, or is that like the manager's philosophy at the time? Was that what he wants you to do, and is that kind of similar to what he wants you to do now?
I think it was a bit of both. I think, you know, as you said there, we started the season well when the boys were fully confident, and you know we were young boys and we just fed off the crowd, and we used that, you know, as a motivation. And you know, I think as you said there, our first defeat was in January, and once we got a little cushion ahead, we could just relax, and I think it showed the best of the boys.
Do you think that's something that's been a bit difficult this season as well? Is just the fact that, you know, we've had such a cushion at the top, given the fact that there's no fans in the lull or whatever. Is that why you find it a wee bit stumbly just now in terms of results and stuff? Because we are only 9 games left. We're going to touch wood, and I know you can't say it, but we're going to win the league. But it's like, just does it feel to you as a bit like you're just get this season done and get to the summer type thing?
I think, as a player, you always want to play well, and whether you've won a league, whether you're at the bottom or you're going for Europe, you always want to win football matches. I think the boys are, realistic. They know that the last few games, we've not been at our best. That's just, how it is. We're not stupid. We can obviously do better. We try every day to get better. So, hopefully the last 9 games we can really kick on and hopefully finish the season, with a bit of style and take it into next season.
I think it's we've tried to remain sensible on here as much as we can as well, because obviously, all these games for everybody playing against us, we're the biggest team in the league. It's cup finals to them, isn't it? So, these teams are coming into the matches proper up for it, and all it takes is for us to be, know that we're meaning to, but if you start off slightly on the back foot or not the tempo you want, it's hard to get that tempo, especially when they're so motivated to beat us.
Yeah, it's weird you say that, because I was actually talking to Lewis Moore today, and he said that. He was like, there are a few games I've went and played for Arbroath. Like, we go and play the teams, and I think, like, they're by average, you know what I mean? And then they come to Tynecastle, or we go to their place, and, the days are game. Obviously, we're the biggest scalp in the league, so, I think they do raise their game when we play against them, but, that's what we're up against. You're playing for Heart and McLaughlin, you're expected to win football matches, and I think the players, and myself included, we need to take that and use it week.
Right. Brad, what are you going to say?
You're on mute though.
Hi, Brad. Brad.
Hi, sorry. I think the big question I've clearly missed is, if we do win the league this year, Jamie, are you going to be in tiny arms going mental again?
The pubs will still be shut, so.
Saving grace.
Political answer there.
Still one of my
I think
favourite.
the last time we won, it was obviously Rangers and Hibs were in the league, so it was a great achievement. But this season it is what it is. It's where we are. But I think as Liam said, it's just about the main objectives getting back to the Premier League. Obviously, we want to play well every week, and we want to score goals. We want to entertain, but I think the main objective at the end of the season is, to get the club back to where it belongs in the top of the league, the top league.
There's, like we've said before, right? We agree as well. We'd love to see lovely football and winning 6 and 7-0 every week and that, but we know that's not realistic. But we also know that the club can't afford another season in the Championship. This season has always been, from the start, whatever happened, whether we deserved to be there or whatever, that's irrelevant. It's just get out the league and then make sure that we never find ourselves in that situation again. Just before we let you go, Jamie, for giving your time, for obviously a product of the Youth Academy ourselves, who impresses you coming through that you see, youngsters or whatever? Because obviously we've seen, you mentioned them there, Lewis Moore or whatever, we've seen them in small doses. Is there any young guys coming through that you like the look of?
I think obviously Andy Irvine, like the top one, who's I think a top player, and if he keeps progressing and hopefully stays and signs a new contract that could go really far in the game. I think Scott McGill, who played against Raith Rovers at the start of the season, he's another one who's a good central midfield player. But I think you said about the start about not playing any teenagers this year.
There's been none so far.
I think it's quite tough because obviously the COVID testing and stuff. You obviously can't train with the first team if you've not had the COVID test, stuff like that. So, and obviously the young boys I think were on furlough for a bit and stuff like that. So I think there's a few good young players, and hopefully we can see them get a few minutes before the end of the season.
Cool. Right, Ando, you're going to do the questions,
I will do, aye. So, not too many. There's just one name, or give them their full name or whatever. But I'll fire the question at you. Just come back, soccer AM style. No reason, no explanation unless you want to. Because in case you get your arse kicked when you're at training. So, right. Question number 1. Who's the hard man?
I say Andy Halliday. Thank you. The hard man.
Right.
Willie Gibson would say differently.
Who's the biggest pretty boy?
I think Pop. Munich Pescu. He's always. We just actually started being able to shower after training again because of the COVID and stupid naughty jeans and that he had on. So I'm good for him.
Fair enough. Who's the dressing room DJ?
We actually all pick a song each at the start of the season, and they also make a big thingy playlist on Spotify, so everyone's got their own song for match day and training.
Who's got the worst hair?
90 season to be fair.
Fair enough.
Andy Halliday's is on the way out. He just needs to accept it.
There's a few boys who could be better just shaving it off. I think Boise just took that step and gave up and just took it right off.
I can empathise. I can empathise with Boyce. Just leave him alone, right? Who's got the worst patter?
Some of the people choice they meet was a bit boring, a bit quiet.
Right, who's the biggest diva?
I'll take Crystal Ferrer.
Right.
Always moaning about something.
Unexpected, but fair enough. And finally, who drives the worst car?
Could be me actually.
What is
I
it?
actually went to having a Porsche to a Citroen C3, so it's kind of... I've just got my missus card just now to see what happens, so I'm down to go Citroen.
Oh, brutal. That's us all done.
Did Connor Washington not have a pure banger of a car at pre-season? Remember they were videoing everybody coming into the training or something? I'm sure he had like a Fiesta or something. Or was it Lewis Moore?
It was Harry Cochran was like all the boys were driving in. It was like Porsche, Ferrari, Mercedes, Corsa. I was like,
remember when I was in the youth team, Christian Nadi had a Lamborghini.
Fucking hell.
And also when you were in you were in early in the morning, you have to obviously take the stuff out to the training pitch for the first team. I remember just going out to the pitch, I think I was on the goals or something. I used to take the goals out, and there was just a Lamborghini like parked in the centre circle, and I was like, what the hell's that doing there? Obviously one of the boys had took his car and parked it.
I'm not even joking you, and this is horrible to Christian because obviously he gets slaughtered for it, but I swear I was going Gorgie Road and his Lambo was parked right outside Greg's just as he was coming out in his Hearts tracksuit with a bag of Greg's. I was like, hell, man.
He still scored against Hibs, so it's all
He
right.
still scored
Exactly.
goals against Hibs, that's true. Right, brilliant. Thanks for that, Jamie. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
All the
No
best of the
problem.
weekend, bud. Thank you.
Thank you very much. See you
Thanks,
later.
mate.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, then.
Cheers, mate.
Cool. Right, let's end it with Away Up In Gorgie. What have we had so far? We've had Dickens, we had Benson's, Stratty's. What did we have last week?
Murrayfield.
Murrayfield. Oh, yeah, that was Tam. Constantly.
That was pish.
Tam in. I constantly.
Started well until you brought up rugby.
Aye, and it was your pub. And there's a 70,000 seater stadium on its doorstep, wasn't it?
The
Wasn't it
clue's
broke up?
also in the title. It's fucking Murrayfield, for fuck's sake. Anyway.
Can I move the goalposts for Away Up In Gorgie?
Oh.
Does it? Because my Away Up In Gorgie is Robbo's, but it is now a nothing.
I don't think we said it had to be current. I think you can still,
No,
you can still
funeral
chat about it.
directors.
Can we still keep? Can we keep it as an?
Aye.
Aye, of course.
Pull something back for the dead.
Uh,
Like the
well,
funeral
the thing is-
directors do.
The thing is, you've got to remember that you've no drank since it was probably the last open anyway. So,
That's true.
aye, when you go, buddy.
That is very true. Robbo's, you can't get any more Gorgie than Robbo's. Robbo's was unbelievable. It's right for location. It's right on the doorstep of Tynecastle. For Shanks, when you want to leave at 1:15, you can still get into the stadium for kickoff in your world. It is literally the best pub, but you did have to queue up 3 days before a match. World War One trenches for the toilets. Absolutely. I don't even think there's a girls' toilet in Robbo's. So I don't even know what Birds did when they went in there because I'm almost certain there was no girls' toilet. They sold pies. They sold badges. There was nonsense being sung It was superb. It was the best pub in Gorgie. If you don't believe me, you can watch videos. There's a video of Mark De Vries. He bounces in the main door.
One of the best.
Hey, so Mark De Vries, hey, so Mark De Vries, and he just bounces, fire exit and away. I thought, fuck that, I am not staying in that. It's absolutely superb. I remember at a derby when it was like Reardon, Brown, O'Connor, Thompson, all those wee wanks were coming to Tynecastle. We were waiting in the queue to get into Robbo's as the Hibs team bus came down. So obviously there was like police everywhere, terrified that everybody was going to like smash the bus up. And as the bus went past and got to the back window, like O'Connor and Brown and all that were at the window going like that, like it was like the best thing ever. It's just about 40 Gorgie dads out in the middle of the road trying to square go a bus like that. Like, come on, come on! It was absolutely brilliant. It was up there with Ando when he was punching cars at the semi-final at Murrayfield. That was a belter as well. Remember that, Ando?
No, I can't. I had total blackout. I'd had, I think, a bottle and a half of Buckfast, and or other wines are available, and some many beers. That wasn't a good day for me.
No, it was not a good day for you. We remember we waited and it's another one that could feature in Away Up In Gorgie, but so I won't name it. But remember we waited outside to try and get in for about 15 minutes, and we managed to get in, walk up the stairs, but the young team had set off pyro, so we all got chucked out. We literally got chucked out. We already walked in, but Robbo's was superb. It was the best boozer about. Great after the games, great before it as well. Actually, I think Kev, you might remember. Fans they stopped the bus and tried to drag Pieman off. That was outside Robbo's, wasn't it? During the Save Our Hearts campaign. Remember they stormed the bus and tried to get Robinson off it.
I can't mind the full true story of that, and I think it's one of those stories that's growing arms and legs and Chinese whispers and everything else, and he wasn't actually on the bus at all. They just dragged some old boy off.
Remember we did the black balloon display against Rangers? Because it was a protest about Chris Robinson and that, and he let off black balloons onto the pitch because he was selling Tynecastle. And then after the match, we did like a protest outside the old main stand, just because it happened to be. I was at the barrier, right at the front of that barrier, and there was like, this is how crazy it was kicking off. There was like a guy in a wheelchair. Like there, he was at the front. Everybody was just sort of standing, singing, "Come out," or "We're coming in." Nobody was pushing or shoving. Nothing happened mental. And then the guy in the wheelchair tried to move, or like the person that was pushing him, and it knocked the barrier over. And then like my dad was like, said they listened to it on the radio, and Chick Young was like, "They've smashed the barriers down. They're trying to break into Tynecastle. We're all fearing for our life." And it was like, the wind blew it down, and no one even like the barrier could have just no been there. No one done anything about it. It was actually brilliant. But anyway, back to Robbo's actual.
Oh, wait a minute, Shanks, you were going to ask something. You had your hand up.
So just before I come on to that, we should definitely do a special on protests. Away Up In Gorgie protests. What was your favourite highlight?
Favourite protest, because there's been loads. Like I've loved the protest.
I bet that was it the Levine one where it was like about 30 folk, and then the way the media publicised it recently was Raj. Robbo memory. Obviously, I was a young boy. 98 parade. My mum, me and my dad were sitting next to the bus stop outside. Robbo's just up waiting on the crowds kind of clearing and that, and couldn't get in the. She went and gave a bouncer like 20 quid and was like, can we just get a couple of bottles of beer? And like an hour later, this boy appeared with like 2 bottles of warm Becks in our change, and my dad was made to look an absolute dafty.
Let's stay away from Becks. That gets us into trouble in this podcast. Not allowed to talk about that. We're not allowed to. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. Right, I can't. Obviously, it's 10 out of 10 in the Gorgie meter for me because it's Robbo's, but it's not fair. I can't get the official score. So round the table. I'm
trying to call you out on though, because you said it has World War I trenches for the toilet. I thought you slagged it off like a few weeks ago.
But this is my nomination.
So
you don't know how this works yet.
I spent a lot of time in Robbo's when it was in its heyday, and I'll be honest, that would have been my go-to place if it was still open. So just based on the fact that you gave Stratties a 9.5, I will cover your back and say Robbo's gets a 9.5. I'm not going to outdo him. I'm not going to say it's going to get the full 10 because I don't think there's any pub is a 10 bar one, and still no one's mentioned it yet. But I go up there. The 9.5.
Yeah. It would be a half a minute. I'd probably 9.5 too, because as much as I like Potter, I do like a good toilet. I'm one of those. I am one of those weirdos that does need some form of hygiene in a toilet. So I was racking my brain earlier to see if I could remember any memorable jobbies. Away Up In Gorgie, as we like to call this feature, and there's none that stick out. So, well, there was loads that stick out. The toilet. But then that's every pub up in Gorgie. So there we go. Right, what we said, 9.5 in the Gorgie meter.
I'd say that's safe.
I unfortunately can't comment, so I'll.
Is everyone apart from Kev, Corbett, and I been in Robbo's? Brad's, Shanks,
I've been
you've
in
been
there.
in there in your
Who's
time?
been chucked out of Robbo's?
For the audio listeners, that was Corbett and Ando.
That's fucking horrible, by the way. Every single pub. Oh, in fact, no, I've never been chucked out of Murrayfield, but I've been chucked out everywhere else. That probably says more about me than the pubs, I suppose. I've not been chucked out of the rugby loving place, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. No, I'm fine with that.
To be fair, and I don't remember Robbo's ever having any of those wee wanky Six Nation flag things up.
No, definitely didn't.
Unless there's listeners in there that have got evidence and can send in pictures. It's 9 3/4 on the Gorgie meter now. I forgot it didn't have those.
Do we want to talk about when it changed? Because what a disgrace that was.
No, because the funniest thing about when it changed was that people were in there trying to have olives and dipping bread into olive oil, whilst people were singing the Sash and the Billy Boys. So it was outrageous.
I've got one question though,
Outrageous.
and this is a serious question. So when it changed hands, Shanks, you probably just stayed round the corner when you were in Wardlaw Street. How many times did you take your bird at the time in there for bread and olives?
That was actually where our first date was.
It fucking was not, was it?
It was, eh?
Oh man, I wish I'd set that up. That's
the Billy
brilliant.
Boys.
No.
Does that put it up to 9 7/8?
No, that takes it down. That's
Aye, it's scored a 5 now. Fuck's sake, Shanks, you've ruined it.
A flat pint and some toasted nachos.
And a bit and a bit of nookie behind the fire escape sign.
Aye, that's no good for anybody.
You
Right.
get Newcastle Brown in there, like.
Aye. They have to put it in a plastic tumbler though, which never makes it any good. Right, let's end it with obviously there with again, just thanks to Jamie for taking the time out to talk to us. I appreciate it. It's worth noting as well that was off his own back. It was his own time. We just reached out to him to congratulate him on his 50 goals, and he agreed that he would come on the podcast. It's not like it was through the club. So again, we really appreciate him taking the time out to talk nonsense with us. So thanks to Jamie for that. Obviously, we tried to go through and answer or ask as many questions as we could that we got through on the social media. So Tam's just going to give a wee shout out to everybody that got in contact with us, because we appreciate it.
So I must apologise. I probably missed a few, but the proper questions we probably did answer was thanks to HMFC Shadow Project, Ian Wright, know that Ian Wright, Maroon Report, Harry Temple, Ryan Carson, Andrew McLean, and Will Stevenson. Thanks, lads.
Decent. Again, like we said, we appreciate everybody getting in contact with us on the social medias, but we can grow the podcast and get the folk like Jimmy Walker and John Cahoon and the other amazing guests and that we've heard, is the fact that you guys listen. Not only listen, you get in contact with us and you share it about and bum us up and that. So we genuinely do. We appreciate that too. We've had some nice feedback over the last couple of weeks with people saying that, this helps break the monotony of lockdown. It's why we did it. It's why we started the podcast, because we were sitting about doing nothing and doing family quizzes and got sick of not talking about Hearts. So for all of us in the podcast, thanks for sharing us and continue to do so.
Yeah,
I'm sure you boys.
Right, definitely.
Absolutely.
Cool. And then remember that for Saturday when we're all Pat Stanton and we're greeting our eyes out after their 1-1 draw. And we tell everybody how much we hate Hearts. Right, boys.
Cheers.
See you next week.
See ya.
Cheers, boys.
Get out.